Welcome to Strange Darkness Radio. My name is Anthony, and I am saying goodbye to the show for now. I appreciate everyone who has listened to the show since the beginning, who listened to me, who enjoyed my stories. But as of right now, life has got the best of me, and I just can't do no more at the moment. Due to family, due to personal life, there's just been so much going on that I can't put 100% of my effort into the show as I want to. So I just want to say goodbye to everybody who's listened to me. I know for a fact that Bobby's going to skyrocket the hell out of the show, and I can't be more proud of it. From the beginning, when we talked about the show at work, you know, we had big dreams, and I know Bobby's going to take this to the moon, and Caroline is going to be a great co-host as well. If anybody wants to follow me on Instagram, you can follow me at TonyG_45 at 19 on Instagram. I will be happy to hear from you guys if you guys want to send me a message and know a little bit more about me. So I just want to say goodbye to everybody and continue saying some crazy stories, Bobby. Until next time, guys.
Hey, it's your host, Bobby Washington. That was Tony exiting the building, and I want to thank him very much for, driving me and pushing me to even start this podcast. I've always wanted to do the show, and he was one of the people who was like, okay, I'll do it with you. And so I was like, okay, cool, because you have, some crazy stories. Like, his stories are so phenomenal. It's just, he never really got to tell all of his stories, trust me. And I do have a couple more in the can, and he will, be on periodically to tell his tales of the paranormal and craziness that goes on. It's pretty unbelievable. He is a person who is nice as hell, but for some reason he's haunted. I don't know why. But it's just is the way it is. And so, with that being said, new co-host, new show intro. I think you guys tell me what you think. Let's go.
Welcome to Strange Darkness Radio, where we take you on a journey into the unknown and explore the darkest corners of the human experience. I'm Sky, the AI voice of the show, and I'm excited to introduce your hosts, Bobby Washington and Carolyn Grey. Together, they will be your guides through the eerie and unsettling tales that lurk in the shadows. From ghosts and hauntings to cryptids and extraterrestrials, we cover it all. So, get comfortable, turn down the lights, and prepare yourself for a journey into the macabre. It's time for Strange Darkness Radio.
I love that intro.
Oh, thank you very much. Hey, I want to welcome everybody to Strange Darkness Radio, and definitely welcome my new co-host, Carolyn Grey, to Strange Darkness Radio. Welcome.
Thank you.
So, Carolyn, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So first of all, I am super happy and excited to be here. I love the show. I think it's amazing. And just thank you so much for having me. As far as, about me, I've just been obsessed with the paranormal and all this stuff for so long. I mean, basically my entire life. I do a lot of research. It's basically all I do in my free time. So, yeah, I'm just obsessed.
Okay, well, like I said, we've had conversations. We kind of met kind of in a paranormal forum, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So, but you were really knowledgeable about the paranormal. You really, have always wanted to do a podcast. And definitely. I mean, just, your knowledge is so vast, it's crazy. I mean,
thank you.
Yeah, you've read books on the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Anunnaki, just, plethora of different books. And, what would you say is your strong suit when it comes to, that one thing in the paranormal that the code you've been trying to crack?
So it's such a broad subject. I mean, there's so much that falls under that category of paranormal.
Yeah.
And I love it all, but I think probably the things that I know the most about are going to be like ghosts, UFOs, aliens, extraterrestrials, interdimensional beings, extra-dimensional, but also past lives, reincarnation, just anything spiritual or mystical or just, anything in that realm.
Well, that's, like I said, that's a vast, realm there, and a vast of knowledge, that you have and that you're bringing to the show. And I know, you guys are out there like, yeah, you said that before with other new co-host. No, this is the real deal. She's no joke. She's really dedicated. She's going to grow, with the show. I just think it's going to be amazing, having her on and everything. So tell us, because we were talking before, prepping for the show and, some of the crazy or odd things that you've done. And I know one of them were calling into psychic hotlines, which I thought was hilarious. So tell the people a little bit about your psychic
my experience
connections.
Yeah. So nothing paranormal has really ever happened to me. I've had a few possible experiences, but yeah, what we were talking about the other day as far as calling psychics, I think I told you I've called probably like 7 psychics in my life, and only 2 of them were really actually convincing. The other ones I'm not so sure about. But the one that I did call was for past life. Like she did a past life reading on me, and I loved her. I thought she was great. She also told me some things that were relevant to this life that I found very convincing. And and when I call psychics, I don't give them any information, right? I try to just I basically test them. Yeah, just let them do their thing and see if what they're saying is true or not, or if it's relevant or not. Yeah. And so she was really cool. And then there's another one and she's local. She's from Sac, and she's great. She's amazing. She's actually she's kind of like low-key famous. I mean, you have to get on like a 2-year waiting list to see her.
Wow. That's crazy.
She's amazing. I don't know if I should be like plugging people that I don't know on the show, but
you definitely can. I mean, Miss Cleo, I believe, is passed on. She's still probably on the psychic hotline.
I haven't called her.
But no. So the local person, you went there, or you called this person? You saw the number passing on the highway and you just randomly called? No. I mean, how did that happen?
So, the one that's from Sac, I actually heard about her through probably from like radio or something. I heard of her somewhere. Maybe it was a referral, but and then she just came highly recommended. She had great reviews, and like I said, she's like she's not famous, but she's a long wait list.
Sacramento area, probably
right,
around the world,
in the area she's known.
I mean, I'm surprised I'm pretty sure she's probably on IG and TikTok.
For sure. They have a website. Places. They actually do. So she does like aura readings, and then her thing is that she can see people who have passed on, and she can communicate with the dead. And so she doesn't just do readings. They also do, they'll help people who have like hauntings in their homes. Yeah. And they go and do like, I don't want to say ghost hunting. That's not the right word. Like people call them when they need help in their home, basically. So they do that kind of work.
Like clearing a home.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Or let you know if you have a haunting and why and what's going on and what to do about it. So, man, I want to say it so bad. Like I want to give people her name, but I just don't know if I should.
No, it's okay. Definitely. No. It's okay. People take it at your, at your leisure, one way or the other, whether or not you go and, delve into whomever, we talk about on the show, whether it's Silver Rain or anybody else. Mm-hmm. She's phenomenal within herself. She's amazing. Go ahead and drop that name. Hopefully she had.
Okay.
Hopefully it was a good reading for you. But
No, it was. She was amazing.
Okay.
And I've gone to her twice. And then I know people who have seen her too. And everyone just has great things to say. But it's Melissa at Sac Spirit. I'm sure most of our local listeners have probably heard about her or of her. So
nice.
But yeah, they're amazing. And then the other lady I called was in Grass Valley. I think it's called the Sacred Bee or something like that.
Okay.
And she was awesome too. So.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, the other ones, all the other psychics I've talked to seemed not on the level to me.
Yeah. I think I did one reading in my life, I believe, other than people coming up to me saying things, you know.
Yeah. Oh, and that's happened to me too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's always fun.
Oh, so you called a psychic too, so it's not just me.
No, I've never called a psychic.
Oh.
you know what's so funny? Just a small bit of knowledge out there for all our listeners and you also. I had a friend and his mom, needed a side job, and her side job was a nighttime psychic. So me knowing his mother, I was like, okay, one, I wouldn't call a psychic anyway, just me personally, only because if I'm going to do anything like that, I really want to sit with the person, look into their eyes
in person,
and that whole 9 yards, and be like, okay, tell me
their body language.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't want them on the phone smoking a cigarette, telling the grandkids
Googling
to stop
your name.
playing. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, exactly. So I'm not that person or whatever. But there's nothing wrong with that for those out there who seek the psychic realm through the airwaves of AT&T or cell service. But
yeah, you definitely have to be careful because there are, and this is true in any job or field, but there are frauds out there and people who just want to take your money. So you do have to be careful.
And then there's some who are psychologists and just, need to talk and the person needs to talk. And so it all works out and they get, $10 or however much money. I don't even know what is the going rate.
Yeah, maybe these.
What's the going rate?
It's more than $10.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah. Not way more, but it's more than $10.
Wow. Okay. I don't know, man.
Yeah. You want to know something funny?
What's that?
I saw one guy there's like this mystical shop in Folsom, and there was a guy doing readings there one day. And so I thought, oh, what the heck? I'll just, try this. And I think it cost $50. And I sat there for 15 minutes, and basically all I got out of that reading was he told me that I should follow my heart.
Wow.
So that was really important, that I should follow my heart.
Dang.
So it was $50 worth of advice.
Wow.
But it is good advice. So.
Yeah, well, exactly. But I could have told you that.
Yeah, right.
Anybody could have told you that. But you kind of want to hear, something, whether
a little
it's
more convincing.
Yeah, it's a person who in your life who's passed, or something that don't get on that flight. Don't take that bus. Like, how do you know I was taking a bus? Don't get on that train. It's going to be a derailment.
Right. Oh yeah. If a psychic told me that, I would listen.
Yeah, exactly. See,
sure.
Psychics. My mom has told that to my loved ones, and she's been spot on. So it's always
really?
Yeah, it's always interesting.
We're all a little intuitive, right? We all have that
sure. Yep.
within us.
Yes, we had Stephanie Strange on the last episode, and we were talking about that, and how she did her thing. And actually, I want to thank Stephanie Strange. Hopefully you guys listen to the last show. She's an amazing person.
No, that she was awesome. That was so, her whole story was interesting. Yeah, she's amazing. And I especially liked what she was saying about that, her story about how she first realized she was intuitive and started practicing using her gifts, and how it's just become more and more stronger through practice. I think that could apply to anyone if you practice listening to that inner voice, like she was saying.
Oh yeah,
so,
exactly.
Yeah, she was awesome.
Yeah, she was amazing. She was so amazing. She helped me find you. So if it was not for her, your boy would be flying solo.
I should be thanking her too.
Yeah, she's an amazing person.
That's awesome.
And I said it on the show. I was like, she's if you guys go back and listen to that show, I said, you're saying things that you don't know anything about that's going on behind the scenes personally, even with the show. And that just helped me, guided me to do what I needed to do and get the person I needed to get. And it all worked out. So, hey, I got helped by a psychic. Because my one thing about doing this show, I never have a psychic on and say, give me a reading. That's not my thing. I want them to come on and, tell their story, give their background. We're not looking for free handouts or anything like that.
Yeah, you want it to be about them.
Yeah, exactly. Just come on, have like random readings and all that good stuff. No, it's not what it's about for me. It's just about for the public to get knowledge about, different realms and different ideas and different spectrums of reality to, kind of free your mind and, not so...
broaden your horizon.
Yeah, exactly. Be not so, controlled by what society say we should do, whereas, whether it's Protestant, Christian, this or that, just
being deterred from, pursuing your interests.
Exactly.
Even if they're not.
Because you never know where it's going to lead you. So
follow your heart.
Yeah, exactly. So, again, welcome to the show. And do you have anything you want to ask me? Anything you want to say to our fans, your new fans? And I'm pretty sure you're going to have a lot. You guys can check Carolyn's IG post. I posted on our IG page at Strange Darkness Radio _ Strange Darkness _radio, and check out her info. And she should be linked to our page, her Instagram also. So you guys can go by there and follow her and, slide into her DMs and hit us up with some paranormal stories.
Please send us messages. Send us your stories.
Exactly.
We want to hear them. And just a little disclaimer. So I had one person who wanted to tell me a story. And so I said, yeah, I want to hear your story. And then I think it took me like a day to respond to them, and they got a little upset. So just for all our listeners, just know if it takes me a day, if it takes either of us a little while to respond, I mean, we're not ignoring you. We have lives besides this podcast going on.
That is true.
And as much as I loved, I mean, I think I was telling you this last night, Bobby, this podcast is like my number one priority in my life right now.
Well,
but I do have other things going on. So
yes, that is true.
just letting y'all know, we want to hear your stories. It might take us a little while to get back to you, but
exactly. Yeah, we want to hear them.
Send us a message.
Definitely hit us up. You guys can call into our hotline at 916-741-3032. Now it's time to get into tonight's show. This is going to be a very interesting show for me because this show tonight is about the fascinating and terrifying shadow figures. I mean, what are they? What's going on? The whole 9 yards. So we're going to get into that right now.
The concept of shadow people or shadow figures has a long history in various cultures and folklore around the world. These entities are often described as dark, shadowy humanoid figures that appear to move swiftly and silently. While beliefs and interpretations vary, shadow people are generally associated with feelings of dread, fear, or a sense of foreboding. The origins of shadow people can be traced back to ancient mythology and folklore. In many cultures, there are stories of shadowy beings or spirits that lurk in the shadows, often associated with the supernatural or the afterlife. For example, in Greek mythology, there are references to shadowy beings such as the shades in the underworld or the figures in Hades. In more recent times, the phenomenon of shadow people has gained attention through paranormal research, personal accounts, and popular culture. Many people claim to have witnessed these shadowy figures, often during moments of sleep paralysis, in which a person is temporarily unable to move or speak while falling asleep or waking up. These encounters are often accompanied by a feeling of being watched or a sense of malevolence. Psychologists and paranormal researchers offer various explanations for the phenomenon. Some propose that shadow people may be a product of the human mind, resulting from sleep disorders, hallucinations, or psychological factors. Others suggest that shadow people could be interdimensional beings, spiritual entities, or even extraterrestrial visitors. The term shadow people itself gained popularity in the late 20th century through the work of paranormal investigator and author Heidi Hollis. Her book, The Secret War, a true story about a real alien war and shadow people, 2001, explored her personal encounters with shadow figures and presented the idea that they were related to extraterrestrial activity. Shadow people have since become a recurring theme in paranormal literature, documentaries, and online communities. Numerous accounts and theories have been shared, with some individuals claiming to have positive or neutral experiences with shadow people, while others perceive them as threatening or malicious entities. It is important to note that the existence of shadow people remains a topic of debate among skeptics and believers in the paranormal. Scientific research into the phenomenon is limited, and experiences attributed to shadow people are often subjective and difficult to objectively analyze. In conclusion, the history of shadow people or figures is deeply rooted in mythology, folklore, and personal experiences. While their existence remains a subject of speculation and interpretation, the phenomenon continues to captivate the imagination and curiosity of those interested in the paranormal and the unexplained. Now back to Bobby and Carolyn to get their thoughts and experiences on shadow figures.
All right. Gotta love Sky. But I didn't want to read all that.
She's got a nice soothing voice.
Yes, she does. But so, what are your thoughts on shadow figures? Because I have a whole array of ideas.
Oh, yeah.
Because I've had
too.
a lot of different shadow figure encounters.
Yeah, so you definitely believe in them, right? Because I mean, you've seen one, so
I've seen
or maybe multiple.
A plethora of shadow figures. I've seen numerous shadow figures to where, to me, it's not even it's
debatable.
Like exactly. It's not even up for question for me. But again, I don't know what it is. I don't know what they are. I don't know, whether it's something interdimensional, whether it's aliens, whether it's something, forming in your mind, whether it's something slipping beneath the veil, whether it's a tear in space. Those things I don't know. But I do know I've seen multiple shadow figures at different intervals and different times. That's
crazy.
Know. Yeah.
That's so crazy. Yeah. So I've never seen one, but I definitely believe they exist. And I have, a whole bunch of theories of what they could be. But basically, from doing my research, I kind of categorized it. There's a few different categories of theories of what they could be. Some people think that it's just some sort of a hallucination or a shared hallucination that people have. Because, it's pretty common to see them during sleep paralysis, right?
Yes.
And it's also common to hallucinate during sleep paralysis and see bugs and things like that. So another theory is that it's like a projection of our fears or a physical manifestation of the darker part of our psyche. So it's almost like that part of your psyche that you keep buried, that you don't listen to, that tells you to do bad things when you get angry.
Yeah.
You know, that little voice that most of us ignore.
Yes.
It's like a physical manifestation of that, of our emotions, our negative emotions and our negative thoughts. And I guess, hundreds of years ago, people used to think that they were like a warning. So if you would see a shadow person, it meant something bad was going to happen, like a bad omen. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, it could be like a spirit or a ghost. It could be some sort of a being, an interdimensional being, like you were saying, or like Sky was saying, or some kind of alien. So, yeah, there's a lot of theories out there.
Yeah, no, exactly. And the Hat Man, that's one, as far as a dark figure, something consistent that numerous people see, a certain way, because there are certain type of figures that, that very distinct. And
so that's actually That's actually what I was going to say. I am convinced that they're a real thing and not just a hallucination, just because there have been so many sightings that are so similar in their description of them. And not just sightings. I mean, I've seen so many videos of shadow people online, like thousands of videos. And yeah, there's some fake stuff out there. There's probably a lot of fake stuff out there, but what I find so convincing is that you'll see videos of shadow people from different parts of the world that have absolutely nothing to do with each other.
Yeah.
And yet the way they look is the same. These shadow beings just look always the same. They're so dark and creepy. It's literally like the outline of a person, and it's so dark. And so, yeah, I'm convinced that they're real.
Yeah, it's intriguing to me. And you mentioned how dark it is. The figures that I've seen, point blank, meaning with my own two eyes, not through a mirror or not through an object
video.
or something like that. No. I mean, just still personally, still in the room with me, but just through looking at a mirror or looking at something else, and catching it, but seeing it, just staring at it, right?
Like actually seeing it right in front of you, not just out of the corner of your eye.
Exactly. There is a difference between being dark, a room being dark, and then this thing being it's like the black darker. Is so dark that it makes the dark look like light. I mean, it's a trip. The contrast between the two figures are startling. I mean, it definitely is. There's no way to describe it other than like black chalk. You know if you take a magnet and you put it through sand and you gather all the black whatever in the sand, and you put the magnet on the ground, and then the reflections of what that can show. It's just a dark. It's hard to explain. It's just a extreme darkness.
Yeah, for anyone who has never seen one or seen a video of one, or who has like absolutely no idea what we're talking about right now, they are so dark that they are darker than if you shut off all the lights. Like Bobby was saying, I mean, you can see them clearly in a pitch black room because they're so dark. It's like they suck all the light. It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's creepy.
It's extremely creepy. Yeah. We're going to, talk about different YouTubers that we follow, and to where they've had some serious. Not saying anything they have is real or not. We cannot debunk it because we're not there. Just from a visual standpoint of everything that's happening, there's this person named Sabia L. She will give Steven Spielberg a run for his money if she's faking this stuff. Her stuff is so freaking amazing. It's Sabia, that's Sabia, then EL. And you can find her on YouTube. And she's on various, when people do the top, 5 haunted places or haunted scenarios or shadow figures, she's always.
She gets featured a lot.
Yeah, she gets featured a lot because she has a lot going on. She's over in Europe. Where's she at? She was in.
So I think she's from Holland.
Holland. Okay. Yeah, she is.
Yeah. And she moved into some old building, and her apartment was just, ever since she moved in, she started having issues, and she has captured so much just amazing footage. It's really crazy. So if you're open-minded and you want to know about this stuff, definitely check her out.
Yeah. It's her stuff is amazing. I mean, there's this one figure where she's in her living room and she's looking at her kitchen, and then her kitchen is extremely small. In these European countries, they have they're not like the U.S. have these bigger lavish homes. I mean, some places are, but for the most part, these homes are really small, and the kitchen is extremely small. And there's this object that peers out, and it's a shadow figure. It's like a small child. It's the size of a child. Height-wise.
So creepy.
Yeah, and this thing peers out, and it's just, and again, it's dark in the room that it's peering into, and dark in the room that this entity or shadow figure is in.
Yeah,
and you can just distinctively see the contrast difference.
This is like what Bobby was saying, so you're looking at a doorway and the room is black, it's dark, and then the room that you're looking through to the doorway is also dark. but you see this even darker shadow figure stick its head like through the doorway, like it's peeking at you. It's so creepy. She has other stuff too. There's one where she's laying in bed, and the way her apartment is set up is there's a door between her bedroom and the living room, but the door is glass. It's like a glass sliding door.
Yeah, like
and
a divider
so she's got it like
that closes.
Yeah, like you pull it closed, and it's halfway closed. And her lights. One thing that happens in her apartment a lot is that her lights will flicker. Things will move. There's all kinds of stuff that happens in her apartment. But so the lights in her living room are flicking on and off, and she's laying in her bed. And then all of a sudden you see a shadow figure standing in that glass door, like staring at her right at
crazy.
the foot of her bed. It is so creepy, man. Oh my God.
Yeah. So definitely check her out. And there's one other that we make note of.
Dino Nuggets.
Dino Nuggets. That's so funny.
Dino Nuggets 741. He's got some really creepy stuff out there too. So, and it's a similar story. I mean, his house was haunted, and this guy, I think he's legit. Check him out, see what y'all think. But I think he's legit because this guy has moved like 4 times because of this thing haunting him.
Yeah,
and it follows him everywhere he goes.
No, that's a thing. People are haunted.
Yeah, it's creepy.
But yeah, so shadow figures. It's so interesting though because I had this encounter. Again, I haven't talked about it yet, and I want to do one of the Bobby stories. Put it together with the sound effects, the whole 9 yards that you guys are used to me doing. But the encounter is so crazy. I can't wait to tell you because again, I am not haunted. I don't feel that I'm haunted. I feel that there's things that happen from time to time, but I don't feel that something's following me or. I just think there's certain circumstances things want to show themselves or appear.
So are you talking about the Washoe Club or are you talking about your other
No, though. The Washoe Club was cool. I went to the Washoe Club. I think it's a Washoe Club. I always get that wrong. It's in Nevada. And it's really interesting. Really interesting place. They have a lot of, shadow figures that appear. In that particular club. They also, there is this like a storage area that's made of all bricks in the back of the club. And it was actually used as the morgue when the ground was really cold and they couldn't, bury, people. And so they would pile up all the bodies into this particular area until they can, bury them
until the ground thaws. Oh my God,
exactly.
That's creepy.
So they'll be in there for 9 to 10 months, and people see shadow figures all the time. I went, I didn't see anything, and it's so funny. I went right, and it was in the daytime. It was a nice tour, the whole 9 yards. There was some kids, whatever, running around, and I have the footage and I have the photos and everything that I took. But it still didn't come off to me as haunted for whatever reason. Like I didn't feel anything, and which
it didn't feel creepy to you.
Yeah, no, not at all. And again, that doesn't mean anything because it's all about the right time. The ghosts were like in another part of whatever. It's just there was nothing going on for me. And then so when I got back, I never even bothered to mess around with the footage. Which was weird. Because it was like. It was like I didn't even think to download it, to go through it, to look through it.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, it totally slipped my mind. And again, it's probably been almost 2 years. It was a while. And
wait, so have you still not gone through it?
No, I still have not gone through it.
You need to go through that.
No, I will. And we started talking about shadow figures, and again, this is a whole big thing. It's like one of the haunted places in, California. Mm-hmm. And so we started talking about, I was like, what? I went to the Washoe Club. Let me pull up. So I was watching some of the video, but I'm more I'm not really an investigator per se, but if I do, I want the elements to be right. I want to do it at night. I want to have that that
want to have
scare
equipment
factor.
right.
Oh, for sure, because
have all your gear.
Yeah, exactly. And the bright, I think it was like noon when we went, and it wasn't, just the elements weren't right, and even in being in the where they stored the bodies at, in this brick storage area, it was creepy. It was pretty creepy, for sure, because that was totally, once you went in there, there's this one light hanging, you could turn it off, and some people sat there, Zach Baggins, that was his big thing, his big show that launched his career was at the Washoe Club. But yeah.
Yeah, but any basement that looks like that is going to be creepy.
Oh yeah, no, it definitely was creepy. But I still wasn't getting the paranormal per se vibe. I was getting, the old school vibe for sure, just as far as just the history, of the Washoe Club.
So do you think you're kind of sensitive to stuff like this or no? Because I don't think I am at all.
I definitely think I am sensitive, whether I want to be or not. It's like one of those things. Sometimes you don't want something or whatever, and you end up getting it, and you're like, damn.
To give Dan a curse.
Yeah, exactly. But speaking of that, let me tell you guys a story that happened to me. And again, this is crazy. And the audio to me is terrible because I recorded it directly from my phone. I was at work. I went to a particular location. Right when I came out, I recorded it, and this is exactly what happened. I'm not messing around. I'm not playing. This is what occurred. And it was the craziest thing. And this is what I mean by the whole, I don't believe I'm haunted, but I believe I do see things, or things tend to show themselves periodically. It can go decades or years before something particular happens. And this was one of those times. So here we go. So as I'm walking down the corridor of this hospital, I'm always looking at the mirror bubbles at the top, just to make sure I'm not running into a patient or an employee as I go by, because I have a cart with me that has boxes of blood on it. And then I notice a shadow to my right passing as I pass. I was like, that is weird. What the hell? And then I get to the next corridor and look over, and I see the same shadow pass by. I'm like, okay, that was freaking weird. So I started, as I kept walking down the hall, I look in the bubbles, and I look behind me, and then there's someone walking behind me at a distance from the mirror bubble that they have at the corners of the hospitals, just so you don't run into each person as you come to the corridor. So I look back, and there was nothing there. I'm like, what the hell is going on? So I keep walking. I get to the next bubble. I look at the bubble. There's somebody walking behind me, but they're still at a distance. I'm like, okay, this is weird. So I get in the elevator. I go up. I come out, go into the blood bank, deliver the blood products. Kind of like, okay, that was hella trippy. As I come out of the elevator, now I'm back in the basement. You pass the morgue. So I'm looking in the bubbles again. There's somebody walking behind me. I stop. I'm like, okay, this is starting to freak me out. Employee comes off to my right or whatever, scares the shit out of me as I turn around. And, the person's almost right in front of me because I'm just standing there. And they're like, are you okay? You lost? I'm like, no, I'm fine. I continue to walk. I look to my left. Shadow passes the corridor as I pass. I stop. The shadow disappears. So I kind of walk forward. I look in the mirror bubbles. There is a freaking shadow behind me. Turn real quick, gone. Also, I was like, okay, this is fucking crazy. So as I start walking, the freaking shadow, I hear footsteps behind me, because all I hear when I'm walking is my footsteps. So I was like, I gotta get out of this hospital. So the footsteps are getting closer, and
and I look at the bubble, there's somebody almost right behind me. And then so I turn, and as I'm going through the doors to exit the back of the hospital, I run into the Stericycle guy. They do bio waste for the hospitals and all that stuff. And I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. And then I dart out of there, being chased by a freaking shadow figure in the back of a hospital at Kaiserstown.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that was extremely crazy, because it was the point of when you're walking in a hospital or any place, whatever, that has bubbles, but usually it's a hospital. And you're looking, I look out of the corners just because I have this hand truck with me and I don't want to ram it into the person that's coming, in the next corridor. So you always have to be, looking at that stuff. And, that's when I noticed, like, what's behind me? Like, there's somebody behind me, but they're still at a distance because it's just a figure that's kind of moving with me. So as I look back, there's nobody there. And so I was like, okay, that's weird. So I just brushed it off as, maybe it was somebody in the distance passing or going a different way. And I'm the only one pretty much down there at the time. So as I come to the corridor and I look to the right, the shadow figure passes me. But here's the thing about this particular shadow figure. This is the weird thing about shadow figures. This was not a deep, dark shadow figure. This was like, because again, everything's well lit. It was more of a not dark but light, like
those fluorescent lights in a hospital, like. No, where it's kind of dark, but kind of,
No, it was more of like if you have your glasses on, it's not extremely dark, but it's just a little, I don't know how to explain the color of what it was. It wasn't like a standard shadow figure to where it was deep dark. It was kind of light because, again, this is in broad daylight. Everything is on. All the lights are on. Right. It's just me down here. So it's not, the only creep factor was looking in the bubbles and something, trailing behind me, but then you turn back and nothing's there because I'm thinking it's a regular employee. And then,
I would lose my mind.
Yeah, and then passing a corridor and something passing, and then you like, okay, because when it first happened to my right, I was like, okay, I'm seeing things like this is okay. I'm scaring myself, like there's something going on because of as I'm thinking, it's passing. I'm thinking, okay, that's just a trick of light or something out of the corner of my eye. I'm like, no, there's something going on. But when I heard the footsteps behind me, that's what tripped me out. And again, because I'm the only one on the floor, there's probably other people there, but nobody's in any of the corridors. And the morgue is down there.
And I was just going to say, you're in the morgue. That is the creepiest part of a hospital.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Not even a question. And so again, I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was, just a lost soul, somebody who just got to the hospital, somebody who, I've been to numerous hospitals. I don't normally go to that hospital, Kaiser. But yeah, it was crazy. And
I'm sorry, by the way, that I was laughing, but I was laughing at that last part where you're like, I had to get out of that Kaiser because, oh my God.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
But, so what do you, first of all, so it's really common actually to see those in hospitals, like shadow beings. I think the most reported where they're seen is hospitals, cemeteries, and then like where a big catastrophe happened, like after the tsunami in Japan, after the earthquake and then tsunami in Japan, people reported seeing shadow beings walking around. That 9/11, there were reports of seeing shadow beings in, the aftermath of that. But anyways, so what do you think that they are since? Well,
I'm thinking this one was actually more of somebody who just passed or who was going, who was looking for something in the hospital. Like, I don't think it was a shadow figure in the sense of, the ones that are the dark elements to where we don't know exactly where they come from, this, that, and the third, like whether they're demonic, whether they're beyond the veil, is something that's trying to bleed into our reality. And I don't think it was that. I think this was 100% human who passed away, who is a ghost. I think this was a ghost more than a shadow figure, but it was in a shadow element. And again, it wasn't a dark shadow, and it was in more of a human form. This was more of a, and not the tall man form, not that, because
literally just a shadow. It wasn't like a creepy entity. It was just
this was
like
something just following me, something
figure.
wandering the hospital, something trying to figure out either what was going on or what was just, I don't know if it was trying to leech on to, me or to, whomever, or just, like, hey, I'm dead, what's going on? I think this is more of a ghost, a ghostly figure than a shadow, those
being.
Deep dark, shadow figures. Yeah.
That's really interesting because, I have a few theories of what I think they are too, but the theories of what I think they are completely like contradict each other. So maybe what you said just clicked. I mean, there must be things in between, like like they could be different things. They could be many different things, right?
Exactly. And I believe
just have to be one thing.
Yep.
So not to cut you off, but this was actually something I was planning on talking about. And it relates to psychics. But one of the psychics I spoke to, it was Melissa from Sac Spirit. Mm-hmm. I actually asked her during my reading, because I've always wanted to know this. This question was just killing me. But I asked her, so what are shadow beings? Because I was watching a lot of those videos at the time, and I just was curious.
Oh,
and
interesting.
What she told me, what she told me actually makes a lot of sense. And it kind of relates to your story too. So she basically said that they could be different things. They're not, it doesn't always have to be the same thing, but basically there's some sort of entity or energy or being that is just not from this dimension. It's not from the physical reality that we experience. And so we can't necessarily perceive them with our senses. And so basically our brain, whatever we're looking at and seeing, our brain doesn't understand what it's seeing. And so it just fills it in with black.
Wow.
And it just makes it look like a shadow person. And that makes perfect sense, right?
Yeah, I never heard that before. That's interesting.
Yeah, when she said that to me, I just like clicked. Like that makes perfect sense to me. But it could relate to you too, because I mean, if it was a spirit of someone who had just recently passed and maybe they were confused and just sort of wandering around, I mean, maybe your brain just sort of caught like a glimpse of it or whatever, or your brain just didn't understand what it was seeing, and so it fills it in with black, or you know what I mean?
Well, no, this was a tall man. I'm not tall in the sense of tall, not the tall hat, not the tall
like
man.
You could tell it was a man.
Yeah, this was a figure. This wasn't a blob. This was a figure of a man, but it was translucent. It was misty. It was dark, but it wasn't dark. And I know I keep saying that, but yeah, but this thing was wandering the hospital, whatever it was, and and again, they bring people in and out, and people code, and there's a lot that goes on in hospitals, whatever. So I'm not sure.
Maybe it could be someone who didn't even know they had passed, and they were just
that's true too.
Confused.
Yeah. That's
wow.
That's very true.
Yeah. So that's one thing. That's one thing about these shadow beings, and like we were saying, they don't all necessarily have to be the same. They're not all one thing, but. Some of the hauntings that I've heard of, or that I've, seen evidence of online on YouTube, Dino Nuggets, Sabia L, and there's so many others, but these things are intelligent, and they do things intentionally to scare you, to just torment you, to make your home feel unsafe. They seem to get enjoyment out of it. And so whatever they are, I think, I have no idea what they really are, but
it's that fear.
Whatever they are, they're malevolent.
Because they want you terrified. They want you depressed, terrified,
isolated.
Exactly. I don't know if they're trying to possess you at some point, or what their motivations are, to get you at your lowest, moments and chakra, and just drive you insane, because that's more of a demon thing, you would think.
Right. Demonic energy.
Yeah, exactly. But they're doing a lot of different things in the house, to drive you freaking crazy. And for that guy to be going through that type of experience, whatever, that's crazy. And it's like, where do you find a shaman at? It's like that's interesting. But again,
ancient texts.
Yeah, you can find anything online, I guess, or anybody online. Just again, like Silverane and different people that are out there that are fighting these battles. And that most of the public aren't even aware of, or it's not happening to. This is not like happening to 90% of the people. It could be 5 to 10%, but if you're one of those people, you're in like sure hell. Go ahead.
And that's another thing. I mean, like we said, they like to make you feel isolated, make you feel crazy, and there are still a lot of people out there who just don't believe in this stuff, and so people feel like they can't talk about it or be open about it, which makes it even harder for them to get help, right?
Exactly. No, that's true. That's true. They feel people will judge them. They talk about it, to their friends. They're like, this person's crazy.
Think they're crazy, right?
Yeah, they need to
and
be
that's
on
what they
meds.
want.
Exactly. Just all kind of different things. So again, if you guys are having these type of experiences, you guys can, go ahead and call our hotline and hit us up on Twitter, hit us up on IG. We'll tell your story. You can come on the show, whatever you're, comfortable with, because again, it's like, we know these things are happening.
Share your stories.
Yeah, exactly.
We want to hear.
I'm a prime example of, just going through my day, doing regular things and going to a particular hospital on a particular day. And next thing you know, that crap happens. I mean, it's a trip, but again, you go where
you didn't ask for it.
Yeah, exactly. You go where the dead is. Sometimes they might want to tag along.
Right.
So you never know. But we've had a great show. So your first show, Ms. Grey, how do you feel?
Oh my God, I had so much fun. I mean, I could have talked about this topic for hours and hours and hours. So,
yeah.
But I understand that people have a life and got to cut the show at some point. So,
yes, great show, great night, shadow figures. Carolyn Grey, thank you for being a new co-host of Strange Darkness Radio.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Thank you to all our listeners. And don't forget to check out our next show. It's going to be about UAP, unidentified aerial phenomenon. Should be pretty good.
That's going to be an amazing show.
Yes.
Watch out for the government. Until next time, you guys.
Thank you so much. Good night.
Good night.
Ethel, do you know where you are?
My body.
You're fast over. You died.
No. Everything, my body, they took it. It's torn.
What an excellent day for an exorcism.
We learned that for at least the past 8 years, military pilots frequently encountered unknown objects in controlled airspace off both the east and west coast across the continental United States in test and training areas and ranges. We don't know where they come from, who made them, or how they operate.
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots to the west. Oh, I'll take, dude.
Cleveland County 911.
I don't know if I should have called this in or not, but
What's going on?
if I'd have had my camera, I'd take a picture of it.
Take a picture of who?
I don't know what it was. He was walking upright like a man. I would not kill it because I was afraid to. But he went back up the mountain.
Cleveland County 911.
Hello.
Can I help you?
Yes. This is Tim.
Uh-huh.
You probably have my address.
Yes, sir. What's going on now?
I shined a light on this thing. Well, I would not shoot.
Okay, what did it look like?
It looked like a giant ape with a man's face. But I was afraid to kill him. And it made a whistling sound. He was about 9-10 foot tall with real long arms. I go out there, he gets gone. Then I come back in the house, and he gets back there again, and my dogs are just raising heck. Would I get in any trouble if I shot and killed this beast, this animal, or whatever it is? Would I get in any trouble?
I can't answer that question.
If he goes too close to me, I will kill him.